On May the 17th, 2024, Nikon registered 4 cameras. And if you've been counting, that's a total of 6 cameras registered to which we don't have announcements. And once a camera is registered, we normally get an announcement within 1 to 3 months of that. Now, things can go outside of that, especially in times of material and parts shortages. But Nikon Rumors is saying that of these 6 cameras that are registered, 4 of them are for existing products. The Nikon Z6 Mark II is currently priced at $1,496. That's $500 off its regular price, giving it an inventory clearing price, prepping it for the Nikon Z6 Mark III. And why do we think the Nikon Z6 Mark III is coming this year? Well, it's hardly a secret. Nikon Rumors have been talking about the Nikon Z6 Mark III since going back to last year, predicting that we would get an announcement in early January, then the first quarter, then April, then May, and well, things keep slipping. And it's not a knock against Nikon Rumors. Nikon Rumors is very good at delivering us information, but we've seen this not only with Nikon, but with Canon, the R5, the R1, again, supposed to get announced earlier in the year, then January, then February, March, April, and well, we did get a development announcement for the Canon EOS R1, the R5 Mark II, still hasn't been announced. So and it's not just Canon, it's not just Nikon, it's also Panasonic and Sony. So I'm going to give you a little bit of why I think some of these delays might be happening, which is affecting everybody. But for now, let's take a close look Nikon Z6 Mark III might have in terms of specifications. And this goes back to March 2024, so it's not that old. It's going to deliver a resolution of 6048 by 4032. That's full frame, and it's going to deliver 12-bit Nikon RAW. It's going to be capable of video up to 240 frames per second, 8-bit in full HD, 14 frames per second mechanical, 20 frames per second electronic, and that's RAW, probably about 1.2 gigabytes per second. Although it says no bird autofocus at the time of release, but it could happen in a future firmware update. HDMI-A, USB 3.0, and again, you can see at the bottom there an April-May announcement. And then going back to January, we can see that it again doubles down on that 6K up to 60 frames per second, 4K up to 120 frames per second. You can take a look at this on Nikon Rumors website. But the Nikon Z6 Mark III isn't the only camera that we should pay attention to. The Nikon Z7 Mark II has an even bigger sale, $1,000 off at $1,996. And many of you, even going back to the Mark II, were hoping for a much more aggressive update to the Nikon Z7 in the Mark II, which we didn't get, but there is a lot of hope for the Nikon Z7 Mark III. Nikon already has 2 cameras. Well, this would be the third, so we're talking about 3 cameras with a resolution of 45.7 megapixels. 45.7 megapixels. Do we need 3? Let me know what you think, but I think it makes an awful lot of sense for Nikon to be one of the first in this mirrorless campground to really push out a high-resolution niche camera, higher resolution than this Sony a7R5, which can do 61 megapixels. It is possible that Nikon could come out with a camera delivering 85 or even 100 megapixels, and we've heard stories over the past 4 or 5 years that both Canon and Sony have developed sensors around 102 and 105 megapixels. So could Nikon take the Nikon Z6 Mark III and deliver a much higher resolution camera, at least at 61 megapixels, to compete against the Sony a7R5? But with having CF Express Type B card slots, they could push the frame rates even higher, or at least deliver higher resolution images at a higher rate than what Sony can do. It's certainly plausible. It's certainly possible. But we don't have any valid leaked specifications on the Nikon Z7 Mark III, and when it comes to dates, all we have are these camera registrations. The Nikon Z8 is $500 off, the same discount as we see on the Nikon Z6 Mark II. But it was released just a year ago, so it's highly unlikely we'll see it refreshed. And Nikon could certainly refresh some of their entry-level cameras like the Z50, the Z30, but there is one camera that's been getting a lot of interest, at least as we get ready for the 2024 Paris Olympics, and that's the Nikon Z8. Now, Nikon Rumors talked about this, I think, going back to December or January, saying that it's going to be a high-resolution, it's going to have half the resolution as the Nikon Z8 and Z9, which is 45.7 megapixels. So that resolution of 45.7 megapixels, half that would put it right in the range of the Sony A9 Mark III, the camera with the global shutter, or the Canon EOS R3, a camera that is now discounted some $1,500 and is getting us ready for a refresh, which we expect to come sometime in 2023. So the Nikon ZF is a new camera, not part of those 4 cameras that could be refreshed. But now let's turn our attention to why we're getting all these delays. We had solid sources, other sites, Nikon rumors, Canon rumors, and you can see leading up to January of this year had solid indications that Q1 was looking to be a very, very big year for Canon, for Nikon, for Panasonic, everybody producing cameras, Sony, OM Systems. And what do we get? Not a whole lot. I mean, the A9 Mark III, which was announced back in, October, November, was finally released in early February. But we've had so many delays, and it's understandable to look at one company and say, okay, Canon has screwed up here, here, and here in their supply chain and the logistics chain in terms of materials and parts and planning. Sure, that's plausible, but when we look at Nikon, Sony, and everybody else and to see the same problems, we have to wonder if there's some sort of fundamental market force at play here. And there's a story that Canon Rumors put out today talking about how magnesium, which is an element that is used in the production of cameras in the casings and in lenses, well, it's been in rather short supply. And if it is in short supply in the marketplace, that wouldn't just affect Nikon. It would affect Canon, Sony, and everybody that uses that element. So it is possible, whether it's magnesium or some other element or components, these are components that are affecting everybody. And that could be why we're seeing delays. It's not that Nikon Rumors doesn't know what they're doing anymore, or Canon Rumors, or we're getting things wrong. It's that there's a fundamental problem in the marketplace that's causing these delays. But now, let's turn our attention to deals of the week. Besides Nikon deals, Sony has also stepped things up this week. The A7R5, $400 off. The A7S III, $300 off. And the A7 IV, well, it's $200 off. And the Canon EOS R5 Mark I is $1,000 off its release price at $28.99. And the Angelbird 2TB CF Express Type B card, $500 off at $449. And the 1TB is $199. And take a look at the Samsung 4TB, it's $299. And there's a ton of deals out there. There really are. That's why I keep showing these deals of the week in every video, because from one week to another, from one day to the next, deals keep changing, things keep happening, and we just got the announcement of the Panasonic S9. It's available for pre-order. So many things are going on. I do have a whole bunch of links in the description down below for various cameras that will take you directly to that page. But if you go to that page and you just put in a search, you're going to get right to the product very quickly. But one important note here. If you do use my affiliate links in the description down below, I do get anywhere from 2 or 3 to 12% back in the form of a commission, and that really does help this channel grow. But for you, you still get the same great deals. You don't pay any extra. You don't have to put in any codes. You don't have to fill out any extra forms. You end up walking away with a really good deal and also giving me a small commission back that doesn't affect your price. So it's the best of both worlds. And a big thanks to all of you that have used my affiliate links in the last couple of days, as well as those of you for staying right to the end of this video. Thank you so much. A lot is going on, as you can see here, from 6 camera registrations from Nikon, a lot's going on with Canon. I think perhaps we could have a very busy summer instead of waiting to the fall. And if that's the case, you want to stay up to date on the latest and greatest, so you might want to consider following me on Twitter. Sorry, it's now called X. All those news stories that aren't quite big enough to have their own separate video will get put out there first. And then, of course, subscribing and choosing all notifications here on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've got any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the comment section down below. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.